If you want to scale your Google ad account to multiple six figures, YouTube is going to be a significant part of it. But most brands are only relying on Meta, completely ignoring YouTube, whereas you can utilize your winning creatives on Facebook and Instagram ads and build another acquisition channel with them while everyone else still continues to ignore it. So I've generated over $15 million with Google and YouTube ads, and by the end of this video, you will have the exact playbook that I use to scale brands on YouTube ads. Now, first of all, you run YouTube through what is called a demand gen campaign type within Google Ads. And what this campaign is essentially, unlike traditional search and shopping campaigns, which place your ad in front of people who are already looking for a particular thing, demand gen shows your ads visually to people and in order to generate interest. So it works pretty much like Facebook, and you can utilize this campaign to run ads across YouTube, Discover, Display and Gmail network as well. But later in the video, I'll show you, which formats you should be running on which placement. Now, before you head over to your ad account and press the launch button, there are three things that I would really suggest for you to have in place before you even consider running this campaign type. So I would not recommend to start with this campaign on a fresh account. It is way better if you can build the conversion data and certain level of spend with traditional search, shopping or PMAX campaigns, because the middle of funnel part, which you generally capture through the search and shopping campaigns, that is much easier to crack on Google, whereas cracking demand gen can require way more budget and way more testing period. So that is what I would suggest first. You also build enough conversion data that also helps the algorithm then perform better on your demand gen campaigns. Secondly, you already want to have a bank of creatives that are proven to work. Like maybe you're already running Facebook ads and you have a lot of creatives, you're producing a lot of creatives regularly, and you have some proven formats, proven ads that are working on your Facebook ads, so you can start utilizing them on YouTube. And lastly, YouTube is not very good with attribution, so it will be way more helpful if you have a third-party attribution tool like Triple Whale or Northbeam. And even with that, you should also try to measure the lift across your Google ad account in your brand and in your non-brand campaigns. YouTube also helps with the traditional campaigns within Google. Now, to make demand gen work, you really need very good creatives, because it works pretty much like Facebook. So that means that creative is the king, right? Because demand gen is fundamentally different from search and shopping campaigns. You're not matching the demand with your product anymore. You are creating demand, you're showing your ads and generating interest, which is why your creative is the number one lever on your YouTube ads, and which is also why that I suggest you to already have a bank of creatives that you can run on YouTube and find the winners on YouTube and keep testing. That's why you need to have a lot of creatives beforehand. But to make it work, here are a few principles that I have found through my testing that I would really suggest you to follow through if you're going to launch this campaign. And the first one is you literally need to test every single thing. And what I mean by that is you need to be testing every single format, every single ad type that you possibly have, or you can create more. So test videos, test statics within videos, test every single format, because what may be working for you on Facebook or Instagram ads can completely tank on YouTube, and there could be a completely different format which is working way better for you on Facebook. That is entirely possible, right? For example, maybe your UGC content is doing super good on Facebook, but it might not work on YouTube. So you need to be testing all the different formats, even statics, right? I'll give you an example. So for one of the brands, what works the best for them on Facebook is very short formats, like 11 to 15 seconds with, a background music going on. But on YouTube, the product demo ads that are, slightly revolved around stories do much better, right? That is our best performing formats on YouTube. Whereas for another brand, long form VSL ads, 7-8 minute long, those perform the best on YouTube for them, right? For one of the brands, statics do not work at all. For another brand, statics work equally good as videos, sometimes even better. So that is why you really need to be testing a lot on YouTube. Second principle is that if you're running video ads, you should run them on in-stream and shorts ads. Generally, in-stream outperforms shorts, but still you should start out with testing. If the performance is roughly equal, you can keep running the ads on both. If one of them is performing way better, then you can just keep running those ads on that particular network. But if a particular ad is more than 60 seconds long, you should only run them on in-stream, because On Shorts, any ad which is longer than 60 seconds gets looped after 60 seconds, so it will cut after 60 seconds. Whereas for statics, you want to be testing a lot more networks like Discover, Display, YouTube in Feed, right, and YouTube Shorts. Generally, we see Discover to be the best placement for static ads, but again, you need to be testing that. And lastly, I would highly suggest you to have a database like a Google Sheet or a Notion hub, where you're keeping all the tests and you're analyzing different performers and losers, and helping that data to improve your next batch of ads and to help you identify the patterns within your YouTube ads. Now the other half to making YouTube ads work is what happens after the click, right? So landing pages, because unlike search and shopping, this is demand gen campaigns are a lot more top of funnel traffic, because these people are not searching for the product already. So your post click matters a lot, and there is no one best landing page. You really need to understand the angle of the creative and then test different landing pages that are relevant to that. For example, if you're running an ad on a normal product page, you can also test a more educational product page. I've seen educational PDPs to generally work well on YouTube, probably because YouTube is by nature a lot more education based platform, probably that is why. But for example, you can look at Groon's ad account on Facebook, for example. They do educational PDPs pretty well. So again, the landing page that you test will also depend a lot on your creative. For example, if the creative is about top 5 products for X problem, then you should have a listicle landing page that lists out 5 different pages and shows your product as the best one, for example, right? Or if you're running a native static ad, which is also something that we are testing heavily right now, then you should run that to an advertorial which continues on that same story and provides a lot more education and does a lot of pre-selling, right? So the different landing pages that you can test are product pages, educational product pages, quiz funnels, advertorials, and listicles. That will be generally what you would be testing over here. So that covers our creatives and landing pages. Now let's actually set up a demand gen campaign, because trust me, there are a lot of things that you want to understand in the setup process. So I'm going to create a new campaign for sales, and we only need purchases here. All right. Demand gen campaign. I would really suggest you to have a proper naming convention, so that it can properly convey to you that what the campaign is about. Testing. Regarding product feeds, we generally see a very terrible performance from here, so we just like to keep it turned off pretty much always as a rule of thumb. And now for the bidding strategies, you initially when you start a new campaign, you'll have 3 different bidding strategies available to you: maximize conversions, maximize clicks, and YouTube engagements. As you can see, you cannot select conversion value right now, because to be able to utilize conversion value, you need a lot of conversion data on the demand gen campaign level itself. Even if you are running a lot of other campaigns and you're just starting a new demand gen campaign, you'll most likely or mostly not be able to start at conversion value. You need more conversion data even on the demand gen level. So initially start with maximize conversions. That are completely fine. Once you have conversion value available, then you can test that. This is fine, and keep this turned off, keep this turned off. Budget, I would suggest you to have at least $50 to $100 per day per campaign at minimum. If you cannot do that much right now, then you should wait on demand gen campaigns. Brand guidelines, you should fill this up properly, because this is a lot more creative or visual platform, visual placement, so you need everything to look good visually. EU political ads, no. All of these other settings are fine, and you don't. Actually you should change this. I like to set the location and the language at the campaign level. So this is USA, and all languages are fine. So we'll go to the ad group level now. And how we like to name the ad group is, first comes the audience. So let's say this is a prospecting campaign, and placement is, let's say, going to be in stream and shorts. Okay, then channels. By default, Google will put this on all Google's channels, and you don't want that. As I mentioned before, you want to run specific channels depending on what ad you're running. So again, let's say that we are creating this ad group for videos, right? Then I'll choose these placements and I'll unselect these, and I'll only run them on YouTube in stream and YouTube Shorts. In stream, as the name suggests, is the ads that run when you are watching a video on YouTube. Those are your in-stream ads. and shorts is just the while you're scrolling the shorts platform. Regarding audience, so this is really important actually. First of all, what you need to understand is, although it sounds like on a demand gen campaign you can only generate new demand, but you can actually also do retargeting from this campaign, and lately we are seeing this to work much better compared to a dynamic remarketing campaign. So but that is a different thing. But so your audience decides your targeting again, and assuming that this is going to be a prospecting campaign or ad group, this is how we like to create a prospecting audience. So what we like to do is custom segments. This is like really interesting and unique to YouTube ads. What you can do over here is you can give Google specific search terms that are relevant to you, and you can tell Google that these are the people that you wanted to go after. So that is like, we like to use this a lot. And how we create it is first we'll choose this people who searched for a specific thing or term on Google, and let's assume that you are selling watches, men's watches. So here you'll give it all the different search terms. What I would suggest you do is go to your other campaigns, your shopping campaign, let's say, export the top converting search terms and give this the top 15 to 30 search terms by conversions. That is just the best way. After creating that, we create a second one in which we do this people with interest or purchase intention, and we just copy paste the same search terms over here. And then we create a third one as well, which is going to be a competitor URL. So here we give it our top 5 to 10 different competitors websites, because we also want to tell Google that people who visit these websites are the ones that we also want to target, because they are our competitors. So these are the 3 custom segments that we like to create, and your data is just your first party data. Well, first of all, if you haven't already created this in your audience library, you might have to create this. So create website visitors audiences, export your customers from Shopify or Klaviyo, and also create those audiences, then exclude them from here, because you want this to be a prospecting campaign. You want to test those creatives on cold traffic to find if they're working or not. So exclude those audiences from here. Then we also like to create lookalike audiences, and how you do that is, first again you'll need a seed list of your past customers, okay, not website visitors, it should be customers. Then you give that to Google, and location, just select the location you're targeting. For segment reach, you will have 3 options: 2.5%, 5%, and 10%. We like to go with balanced, which is 5%. So do that, and then again we also like to give it the different interests from here. These are pre-created audiences within Google. And if you're running a PMAX campaign, you can go to the insights of that campaign and you can find the top converting audiences for you, and you can use the same ones here. But if you're running any other campaign like search and shopping, we like to give some audiences to it on observation mode, and then we are launching a new demand gen campaign. We can look at those audiences, see what is converting the best on shopping and search, and use those same audiences over here. So that is how you choose these audiences. If you don't have any of these, then you can do it manually and just find what looks the most relevant. And regarding data exclusion, you actually do that from here. So yeah, after doing that, save the audience that will be your prospecting audience, and after some time you can go into your audience segments and you can see what audiences are performing well over here and what are not performing at all in your demand gen campaigns, and then you can update this audience with the new data. So that is how we like to go with this. Now something really important to remember is optimized targeting. So we like to keep this turned on if it is a prospecting campaign, because we see this to generally perform well. But if you're going to do a retargeting campaign, then you should turn this off, because then it will not be retargeting anymore. So that is the ad group level. Now coming down to the ad level, this is a video ad, right? And how we like to name our video ads is, first comes the collection or a specific product. So let's say this is, this ad is not a particular product, but this is just a collection or a mixed product ad. That comes first, then your numbering in your Google Drive or whatever is the number of that ad, and then comes the landing page. Let's say this is is being run to an advertorial LP. This is where you give the landing page. And regarding the videos, how you upload them is, you first go to your YouTube channel if you don't have one created for your brand, then upload the videos as unlisted, okay, make them unlisted. You can also do them public, but we like to do it unlisted. Do that and then put the link right over here. Give it your logo. Regarding copy, so if you are already running like a search campaign, you can utilize the same ad copy. But if that ad copy is not good, then you should create good ad copy for your search campaign and also for your demand gen campaign. So to create copy for the demand gen campaign or a new ad from scratch, the best way I found, the fastest and the most efficient way, is to transcribe your ad, the particular ad that you have, or take a few ads, transcribe them, give them to ChatGPT, and then tell ChatGPT to create 10 different headlines, 10 different long headlines, and 10 different descriptions for your Google ads with these character limits, and just let it produce these headlines and these assets, and then you manually pick the best ones, because it generally creates good copy, but you need to give it enough context and let it create enough variations, and then you can just pick the best ones. That is the fastest way that I found to do it. So after doing that, you should keep these turned off. As a rule of thumb, any of these AI optimizations, you want them to be turned off. They generally work against you. So that is a video ad, right? Now let's say that this is going to be a static ad group, right? If you're doing a static ad, you should be doing it in a different campaign or in a different ad group, because the placements are going to be different. So now for the placements on YouTube, we're going to do in feed and shorts. In feed are going to be, so if you're just, on your YouTube homepage, let's say, you can see some static ads right over there in your feed. That is your in-feed placement. Then we also like to include discover and display. Let's go to the ad level. You select this here, right? And regarding the media, here you don't upload it to YouTube. You just like download it on your device and then upload. Now the rest of the ad creation is pretty similar even for static ad. Just make sure that your ad copy is matching the creative. It should not be regarding something completely different, right? So that is your prospecting ad group. Now if you were to do a remarketing or retargeting ad group, placements again will depend on the ad format, but make sure to create an audience that is remarketing only. So here you select your website visitors, your add to cart, your begin checkout. But what I would really suggest you to do is to exclude your past customers, because yes, you want to retarget, but you still want new customers. So make sure to exclude your past customers and only run this to website visitors and all the other retargeting audiences, but still exclude the past purchases because you want new customers. So that is everything when it comes to the setup. Now let's put everything together in a comprehensive strategy that you need to make, or to structure it properly so that you can utilize all of these things effectively. So this is our demand gen strategy. What we do is, initially the whole goal is you want to find the creatives that are working, statics, videos, doesn't matter. So you start with a testing campaign, and how many testing campaigns you launch will depend on how much budget you have. If you don't have too much budget, you just launch one testing campaign. If you have a decent amount of budget, then you launch 1 to 3 different testing campaigns, right? And again, if you don't have too much budget, you create one ad group for videos and another ad group for statics. And if you have more budget, then you create a new campaign for static. So again, the primary goal is to find working creatives, which is why you want to go in every single week and you want to launch new creatives. At the time, you want to have at least 8 to 10 new creatives running in a testing campaign, because you want to constantly test new creatives and find new winners. And once you find some winners, you want to test more of those creatives to find even more winners, and you can scale them. So once you start finding winners, you pause them from the testing campaign and you launch them in their own new scaling campaigns, because you want to be able to scale those campaigns, right? So this is how your structure would start looking like. And over time, what we also like to do is we like to create an evergreen campaign. Within that campaign, there will be one ad group for retargeting and one ad group for all of the winners that we have found, right? So all the winners will be running in that one particular ad group within the evergreen campaign. That is why it is called an evergreen campaign. So this is the overall strategy. If you have an ad that is more than 1 minute long, I also talked about this before, you ideally want to have a separate ad group for that, because you should not run that on shorts placement. That will waste money for you. And the amount of testing campaigns again will depend on your budget, but how we like to test each creative is we like to let it spend at least 3x your target CPA. So let's say if you need a $30 CPA, you would let each creative spend $90 to $100 before you make a decision on that. And we also typically wait for the ad to get at least 3 conversions, right? Good CPA and 3 conversions. If it has that, then we move it over to a scaling campaign and we test it more aggressively. Or if the performance is bad, even after the ad has spent 3 to 4x of its CPA, then you just pause the ad and you launch more creatives. You launch a new batch. And typically when we launch a new scaling campaign, we like to run it on broad audience. So no audience given, but we still like to exclude our past customers, because again, we want new customers only from it. So that is the overall strategy. If you need help with your YouTube ads and Google ads in general for your brand, feel free to book a call with me with the link down below in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.